don't want to use the word protest.
But
I'm using complaint because it is possible that the government will be able to handle it. And when it handle it, it may not be a matter that will be devastating.
But what is bad in protest in itself?
Well, protest, as a matter of fact, let's look at it this way. Can we say that Nigerians are the first? Nigeria is the first country that protest will be common with? No, of course. There are other countries of the world that have protests in different dimensions. Like, for example, in 2018, there was a protest in France concerning the proposed increased fuel tax by the government. So, it was just a proposition, not that it came into effect. But people, the citizens of the country, they started protesting. So, protest is not only common with Nigeria. It's only coming to Nigeria because of what they are feeling is not consistent with what they are expecting.
It's all right. Now, let's move a step further to look at how have we been able to manage protest in the past, and how do you think Nigeria should manage what is ongoing in the country now?
I think every sensitive government will be able to take time to make observation. Anytime citizens are complaining, citizens are protesting, government have a role to play.
And what's the role?
The role is not just to suppress them to stop. The role is to make sure that security is provided. Because protesting is part of the citizens' right. If you check the Constitution, you will understand that citizens have the right to protest against the government policies, because they are the people that are now receiving the impact of the policies of government. So if they are at the receiving end and it's affecting them such that they cannot live again, it is their right to say, government, you see, this thing is affecting us. We cannot be quiet. And I think it's their right. So government should know that it's a right of the Nigerian citizens to protest. And if they are protesting, they should be protected. They should not be suppressed.
It's right. If they are protesting, they should be protected and not suppressed. I think I like that proposition there. Let's also take a look at another aspect. The management of protests is not only on the side of the government. Those organizing and protesting also need to manage themselves, don't you think so? And if they do you think protests in the past have been managed well in this country?
I don't think.
You know the devastation caused by the hashtag #EndSARS.
Yes.
I have cited other instances where protest was carried out in this country. And in all of these instances that I have raised, do you think we were successful with it?
I think on the side of the citizens, the first thing to look at is from the side of the organizers of the protest. The first thing is, have they been identified? Has the government been able to identify those people, a particular group, that have now decided to bring people together that, look, we are not going to be quiet. Let's organize our people. Let them come up in their mass and stage a protest. Has the government been able to identify such people or such a group? That is number one. Number two, the people protesting, what is their reason for protesting? The reason should be clearly defined. It is not just to destabilize the government of the day. Do they have something in mind that they want to achieve by protesting? You know, there are cases, I'm saying this because there are people, some people at certain quarters that they would like to take advantage of situations.
Yes.
You know, in our country we have issues where when protest is going on, there are some people who are naive. They don't have a good understanding of what protest should produce. They now begin to destroy public properties. Now, if you destroy the country, the essence of your protesting will not be achieved. And on the side of government, it is not just that when citizens are protesting, you protect them, or you understand that it's their right. You go on the round table, you go sit down, check what is that policy that is calling for the protest? Now, government, it doesn't take anything for government to sit down and review. Like I was talking about some cases, some countries that were having some protests, like in France. What did the government do? The government sat down and said, "No, we are going back to review this policy that is calling for protest."
Yes.
So, on the side of the people protesting, on the side of the government, and on the side of those organizers, they need to understand that the essence is not just to destroy the country or to put the country under extinction, but to make sure that the country moves consistent with what is expected.
Oh, that's great. Now, let's take a look at the tone of this protest.
Yes.
Government is accusing opposition camps that they are responsible, they are saboteurs. It's an attempt to stifle the gains and development agenda of the present administration. On the other hand, citizens are saying, no, it is not people instigating us. It is we that are feeling uncomfortable and want you to know. In this, who do you think is truly responsible for the reaction we are having in the country now? Is it the government? Is it the government that is the cause? Is it the people that are feeling the pain, or this is instigated by some opposition elements?
When you talk about opposition element, I begin to wonder. You see, any government that point fingers at opposition whenever there are issues to be addressed, I think that government is heading to failure. In Nigeria, we have different political parties.
Yes.
But once a government is in power,
yes,
that government is in charge of either you are in charge of the whole citizenry, so to say. It is not just that you are in charge of the party you won elections in or whatsoever. You, as our president, we're talking about President Tinubu right now. He is in charge of all Nigerians, irrespective of their political affiliations. So you cannot begin to say that the reason why these things are coming up is because there is a sponsorship from opposition. No, it means that you lack the capacity to address matters, because as a president of the nation, every citizen is under your watch. That is number one. Number two, let us look at what is affecting the citizens. Is the matter on ground affecting only the people in opposition? And who are the opposition people? Is the matter on ground only affecting the people in your party? And of course, if it is only the people in your party that are enjoying your government, it seems you have failed already. Because you've been elected and you are that day you take the oath of office, you are saying that anytime the president is addressing Nigeria, he will say fellow Nigerians. He will not say fellow any other thing. He is addressing the entirety of the nation. So his policies are affecting not just opposition people, they are affecting everybody. So if there are protests anywhere or organized protests anywhere, it means that the whole citizens are saying that no, the policies that are happening right now in your government are not giving us what we are looking for. And therefore, please look at this matter carefully, so that it will not be a matter that your government will put us, we shave away from issues that we keep our economic state stable. And then when they protest and they are complaining about that, you don't need to point fingers at people who say it's because of the enemy, it's because of people who don't like my government, it's because these people want me to fail.
The protest must originate from somewhere. Where do you think this is? There can never be fire without smoke. Where do you think?
To my mind, I think Nigerians are protesting.
Okay, Nigerians are protesting. I can see. Well, now let's also look at the strength of the government in handling the demands of the people. You judge a government by how responsive it is to the plight of the people.
Yes.
Do you see the government as willing to actually solve the puzzle, fix the problems, for the citizens as they have demanded in the protest documents?
To my mind, when you talk about response, you see, these issues are very complex. They are complex in the sense that there is no situation or no policy that is supposed to be static. You cannot say this matter is static because change is inevitable.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about the state of affairs in this present generation,
Yes.
you discover that management even is to be based on contingency.
Yes.
Contingency here is what is the current issue? What are current issues? You address the issues as they are currently, not the matter of saying I want to do it because I have seen that if I don't do it that way, it will not work for me. And then you are static. You say that, okay, since I've decided that this is what is going to be, I cannot put a reverse gear. You will fail. You will fail. When the policy...
Are you insinuating? What are you driving at exactly? Are you talking about the subsidy removal?
No, I'm trying to address a matter. Of course, I may not talk and then shave away from the matter of subsidy because
Yes.
I know that even this protest is not far-fetched from the matter of subsidy removal.
Yes.
If there is anything that have caused unrest in our country, Nigeria, is a matter of subsidy. It has been a matter. It has caused unrest since the inception of that. You know, the government of our dear President Tinubu, is a very nice government.
Yes.
It's a government that is proactive. It's a government that is looking at the welfare of the citizens. But when you touch a matter that has been and has affected everybody, sometimes people may not see what you have done. All eyes are on the matter of subsidy, because it is subsidy that has brought the matter of cost of transportation fare. It's subsidy that has escalated prices in the market.
Yes.
A subsidy that cannot allow you what you were doing, what you can pick 100,000 and do in those days. Just a couple of maybe just about a year ago, you cannot carry 100,000 and enter the market and get something reasonable.
Yes.
In those days, 300,000 can build a house for you. But today, because of the subsidy regime, it has become completely impossible for an average Nigerian to do something substantial.
Yes.
Because subsidy has brought in a lot of things. So you cannot talk about these matters on ground and then shave away from the matter of subsidy. You can't.
Are you saying that subsidy should be removed?
To my mind.
Yes. Let's with your conscience and
To
your
my mind.
Yes.
And looking at what other governments in other nations have done.
Yes.
That when you have a policy and that policy is bringing crisis, there is no reason for you to be static. Look, I'm saying that it doesn't cost the government.
Somersault?
It doesn't cost the government anything to come back and say, please, Nigerians, we discovered that you people are in love with subsidy, so we are returning subsidy back. It doesn't cost the government anything. And I think government should have worked towards that. Go back to other nations when there were protests, when there were a lot of agitations.
Yes.
What did the government do? Is it just that we will continue to battle with this? Because even you remember Labour battle with the matter of increase of wages,
yes.
But it was because of this issue of subsidy. Government battle with them. We have series of strikes. There were a lot of instability in the public sector because Labour were saying that we need a wage that will be able to put food on our table. It was the matter of this subsidy that brought the matter. Now we are having the issue of protest, and the protest is also coming as a result of the matter of subsidy. So I think it's a matter that government should sit down. If subsidy everywhere, people are saying it is subsidy that is giving us this. If Labour's complaint subsidy, issue of protest subsidy, the government should say, if this subsidy is becoming headed to my government, let us sit down and look at this matter of subsidy so that we'll be able to move forward with our government.
Very well. Now let's also consider this, the place of patience. Do you remember the statement made by the president when he was declaring subsidy has gone? He said, when a woman is in labor, there is pain. But when the woman gives birth, comes joy, that we should be patient. Now, let's talk about the subject of patience in the whole matter. Do you think Nigerians are patient enough with Mr. President? Because recently, too, he said, give me more time. I am going to fix everything.
Well,
in all sincerity, do you think we're patient enough? Yes.
Japheth
Kwahom. Yes.
I think, to my mind, Nigerians have gotten independence. This is how many years now? Since 1960.
Yes.
Nigeria as a nation is a matured nation. They are not giving birth to Nigeria today. Let me be frank with you. Nigeria is not being bettered today. And there is no president that will come and give birth to Nigeria now. Nigeria has been existing. So the problem we are passing through now is that people who are found at the position of responsibility, let me say that they have not done this country well. You remember other government that have passed, there were a lot of issues regarding the issue of corruption. Even when subsidy was there, I think even right now, the reason what call for subsidy removal, even if you ask Mr. President, he will tell you that it's because of corruption. But maybe that will be subject to discussion other days. Yes. But the truth is that there is a particular pendulum that is juggling. It's moving sideways and left and right as far as Nigerian as a government is concerned. Nigeria as a government is concerned. Because the matters that are bringing in new policies are not far-fetched. Of course, the president wants to have a good government. He wants to rule Nigerians well. But then, he must start with subsidy removal? That is a question I'm asking. Because if you come to a nation or you come to an organization to rule that organization, for example, yes, the first thing you need to know about that organization is the mission and the vision of that organization. Of course, that day that Mr. President came into power, a constitution was given to him, which he understands what the Nigerian nation is standing for. Is that right? And then if that is the case, Nigerians are, which type of people do we have in Nigeria? What capacity do they have? And when the issue of subsidy was on ground, what was the essence? These are the questions that government will ask. These things that are meeting on the table as I continue to steer the affairs of government, what was the reason for establishing this? For example, I am a private educational administrator. When I assume responsibility in a particular school, I study the class of parents, the class of people patronizing me. Because the essence of managing a place is not to pursue people away from you. It's for you to maintain customership. You understand? In other words, I'm saying that the essence of having a nation Nigeria is not because government is managing Nigeria as a country to put Nigerians to death or for them to go on extinction. It is for Nigerians to be happy people. They should live happy lives. They should live in peace. That is the essence of government. Now, what is that thing that is coming that is not affecting the peace of Nigerians? Do you understand that?
It boils down to subsidy, right?
It boils down to what is causing the problem.
You are a management consultant, Fidelis Abago. There are there is something we call policy somersault.
Yes.
Sometimes you make policies and you, just like you said, you realize that they can't work for you.
Okay.
Reversing them comes with consequences as well.
Okay.
Continuing with them comes with consequences as well.
Yes.
Let's talk about the cabal in the oil sector. Why is it so difficult for our refineries to be up and working? You know, we have one in Kaduna, we have one in Warri, we have in Lagos, we have in Rivers. And all of these refineries, none is working. Do you remember when we were told our refinery would start, the Port Harcourt refinery would start last year? We're supposed to have had that refinery, that was in December. Is the refinery working? We were told in August, the one in Kaduna will start operations. And we also told that before August, we'll be giving situation report on the state of the refinery. Today we are already in August. Have you heard about the Kaduna refinery? Now, is the problem subsidy or an inability to manage the economy? You are a management consultant. Let's put issues as bare as they are. Is the problem with subsidy removal or the problem with our inability to be productive and manage our resources?
Yes, of course, the matter of management has been the major issue. Subsidy is just part of them. When management doesn't have an idea that will be able to manipulate resources at its disposal, there are bound to be a lot of challenges. You see, you talk about the issue of management of let's say crude oil, which has been the major resource in Nigeria as a country, and the issue of refineries, as you're mentioning. If government understands that, see, the only resource that can put money in our hands to be able to steer the affairs of our government is the oil sector, the crude oil and refinery, then does it mean that the government does not have the required manpower, the capacity in terms of personnel, who will be able to manage that particular sector for the government? Because if in the past government, the government of Buhari himself said that he was a minister of petroleum. You understand that? So the problem is that Nigerians are struggling with the capacity that is required of them to manage the resource in the sense that I'm talking about the crude oil. That is the major thing that is found in Nigeria. Now, if the issue of personnel is the matter, does it mean that Nigeria don't have people who will be held accountable on issues that pertain to fuel or petroleum? Of course, I discovered in recent time that most people that have made it in life, most people that have commanded cash in Nigeria, most of them have something to do with oil. You understand that? Now, why won't the government close the gaps, close the aspect of excesses, that it will be able to navigate through the management and productivity of this sector?
Yes.
And not just that, I think it's the reason why even the issue of agriculture is dying day by day, because we have not been able to understand the resources that are under our disposal in Nigeria as a country to be able to now save our economic situation. The issue of management is key. The issue of management is a major issue.
It's all right. Let's talk about management of palliatives. Do you think we are very good with managing what is meant to go to the poor and the needy? At the moment, you have heard 20 trailers of rice will be going to every state, including the FCT. Most of the times you have heard monies are meant to be given to the poor and the needy. The processes are always very cumbersome. Some persons cannot even go through them. Government knows the account of every Nigerian. If government wants to freeze your account, the government will not need to seek your consent before doing that. Why is it so difficult for us to distribute palliatives in an even manner that people will never complain?
The question, what even call for palliatives? A government that is proactive does not need palliatives to boost its citizens. Do you understand that? Palliatives are not necessary. Palliatives are coming when the government understands that there is a shock that needs to be absorbed. Now the problem is that if that there is going to be a shock and you are able to take care of that shock, for example now, if you have a good road, shock observers in cars and automobiles will not suffer much because the roads are good. Now if you want to save shocks, you have to create good roads. Let the roads be good so that shock will be saved. Now, government is not first and foremost coming to manage citizens with palliatives. Palliative is plan B. So I don't want to, in fact, I don't even like the name palliative. I don't talk about it. Because if government have put policies on ground, for example, what pack trailers of rice and give to citizens if citizens are able to go to the farm and farm the rice themselves? Government is supposed to make provision for security. Yes, that is the one of the cardinal responsibility of the government. There should be security that people, citizens will be able, the farmers will have the opportunity to go to the farm and then farm the rice. It is not that where the government will one day just pack 2 or 3 trailers of rice to come and distribute as palliatives. There's no meaning in that, because you know that when these things are coming, they will not just pass on the road and get to the people. They will pass through the hands of people. There are people who will convey them from where it is to the people. There are certain hands that must take it, must collect it and say, okay, we are going to take it to our constituency, we are going to take it here, we are going to take it there. And in the process of taking here and there, you understand that definitely there will be leakages.
It's all right.
And that's a problem.
I think we need to go on a break right now. We will be right back to continue with the program. There are more questions for you, Fidel Zabako. Let's go on a break. Welcome back to the program. This is Table Talk on Benue Television. It's about a place where we shake the table. We will never break the table. Today, we are privileged to have a management consultant in the house who is speaking to the Benue people and, of course, Nigerians on what we needed to have done. And even though now that things have gone bad, what we still need to do and what we need to do hereafter. I think this is where the discussion is anchored. Now, Fidel Zabako, the last statement you made actually sunk into the mind, especially mine, because I was beginning to think if we were doing things rightly, we wouldn't come to a point where we would need blood transfusion. You understand?
Exactly.
If we allow the blood in the system to be drained, then that's the only point we will need transfusion.
Exactly.
If blood is sustained, there wouldn't be any. So why do we always come to a point where people would begin to fight over palliatives? I think that point is a strong one.
It's a very serious matter.
Now, let's also look at this. Apart from all that we have talked about, it is already happening. The protest is already happening. And so we need to look at what urgently needs to be fixed so that the protesters will know that Nigeria is now on track, and so we can go back and watch if there is going to be positive change. If you are asked particularly what, I would want you to be specific, should be done at the moment so that people's mind will be calm towards the protest.
You see, it all bounces back to the president and his cabinet. The president of this country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
Yes.
and his cabinet, they are the ones that are supposed to tell Nigerians what is going to happen. You see, when you are talking about the issue of the president saying Nigerians should be patient, you cannot ask somebody who is not sleeping well to be patient. You see, in fact, you will understand that even in our time, what is lacking so much, and patience is not a word that is operating in the political domain.
Yes.
It's a borrowed word. You remember, if the president is using the word patience, he borrowed it from the Bible. It is a word that is an instruction and a virtue in the Christian faith. He borrowed it into politics. You cannot talk about patience with economy, because there are factors that are supposed to be in place for an economy to be good. If those factors are not fixed, when there is capacity to affix them, you cannot ask somebody to be patient with hunger when he sees food on the table. You are rather depriving, or you want the person to suffocate. There is food on the table. If the food is not on the table, it is in the kitchen to be prepared. Maybe the raw materials are there and they are to be processed before the food be produced. That one is a different thing. But this one, you put food on the table, the person is seeing it. It's just for you to open the food, and the person begin to butcher the food, and you are saying, please be patient. The person is seeing, the person cannot be patient. I think that is the situation with Nigerians right now.
Yeah.
They have seen that this country, if things are working properly, Nigerians are not supposed to suffer. Now let's go back to what is happening in the government. Do you know that there are some government officials that are not aware of the sufferings of Nigerians, because it's not affecting them? We are the same human beings, but because there is an advantage that person has, there are some Nigerians that have even went to school more than some other people who are in government.
Is the president one of these people you're talking about?
I don't want to mention names. I'm talking about Nigerians. Now, but you see, the problem is that because these people don't have access to power, they are forced to suffer. You cannot tell me that a professor should be suffering and be patient as a professor when he sees some people who are his small boys who don't even have not gone to school like a professor. And a professor is trekking. You know, when the issue of subsidy, the fuel issue came, I saw some of my professors literally trekking. They park their cars. And you expect that professor who has gone to school, who has studied books, have no theories and principles on how to put them together to make something to operate even in the economic space, that this man should be patient? It's not possible. Now, what the president and his cabinet are expected to do, they should go back to the drawing board. One, look at what themselves, their experience. What are they themselves? What are they having in terms of economy? What is the economic state of government officials? There should be a review. If government said there is no money, let government go back and review some of the welfare packages of the political appointees. Do you understand that? Because Nigerians, an average Nigerian, understand that all the political appointees are doing well. These are people who their cars, government take care of it, give them cars. They don't, in fact, even fueling. The government fuel their cars. These are people who don't even, they have PS. If they are sick, they go to the hospital, the government pay all of that. They don't have to remove money from their pocket to do things. Government take care of everything about them. But you have Nigerians, if they are sick, they will go to the hospital themselves, and the meager amount of money they have, they will use it and pay. If they want to eat food, they want to pay school fees. All of this, they are going to take care of them, and they don't have so much to do. So you understand that some people are angry. These are the people that are calling for protests in Nigeria. The people who are very hungry, the people who have gone to school and have no jobs, the people who are suffering beyond expectation. Most of these people, Nigerians, that are saying we must protest, many of them are not just peasant farmers. So some of them are youth that have gone to school. There is no space for them in the public sector to do anything. The little they have, some of them as graduates, they are riding machine. You know, some of them are in the marketplace. Some of them are trying to see how to put food on the table, doing one or two things. And when they get those meager resources for them to be able to take care of themselves, it's becoming difficult. These are the people that are now calling for protest. Government should understand that, see, in Nigeria, we don't just have one class of citizens. We have different classes of citizens. First and foremost, there should be a research. There should be a study that will be carried out. what caliber of citizens do we have, and what is the likelihood in terms of the people who will be affected positively, negatively for policies? Who are these people? Of course, the youth will not be put by the side. When you are talking about, want to analyze the kind of persons, the kind of citizens that that will be impacted by a policy, and definitely they will react. They are the young people from the ages of 25 to maybe 45. These are the people who will likely say, no, this thing you are doing is not okay for us. We will have to talk about it. These are the people. The government should identify this caliber of people. What is the plan of government for these ages? Of course, we know that children, young people who are 10 to 15, that's what are the teenagers, now to 19, these are teenagers. 20 to 25, the space of young people that are oriented for national service, and then those group of people from 30 to 40 and 45. These are people who are populated Nigeria as a nation. How many of them have something to do? How many of them have reasons to boast about the economic life of their existence in Nigeria? These are the people that government should know that, like, our policies should be able to carry these people along.
That's right. That's wonderful there. Now, I'd like to also remind you, Bako, that we have issues that we are battling with. The youth are saying they are not employed. The youth are saying they need to have, grants. They need to have loans, and they need to have basic amenities provided for them.
Yes.
Do you think these things are available in Nigeria?
I think over time, there was a time there were some facilities like that were created. I have opportunity to witness a lot of young people applying for them on the internet.
Yes.
I think government have come up with some of such facilities. Loan facilities, and in recent time there is a loan for students in the tertiary institution and all of that. These are good packages. These are good packages. I think I must say that government is making efforts in terms of bringing such facilities for the citizens to be able to utilize them.
Yes.
But how well is the government sustaining and managing such facilities? Is a question that we must also ask for answers. How effective is the government have policies that are good? To my mind, President Tinubu is not out to destroy Nigerians. He have a good plan, as he's saying, but the problem is that the pathway towards achieving that goal, that objective, that common good, that idea he has, is what people are saying. This is taking us a long time. His good policies, whatsoever has been packaged in his policies, there should be an exposition that we will see that, okay, this is the content of the policies that are coming on board, so that people will not die leaving the policies, waiting until the policies we don't know when they will come to fruition. You understand that?
Yeah.
So we are saying that the policies are not bad. In terms of the aspect you asked, you were talking about the issue of facilities for loans and all of that. They are there. They are there. We see even recently people are making applications on some of the loans that have been in the public space for them to utilize.
Are they getting them? That is the question. Because most of the times we have some of these schemes and this money still circulates and goes back to the bourgeois class. You are aware of this?
Yes, that is why we always talk about the issue of management. Who are the targeted? Who do these policies? This policy we are bringing on board is targeted at who? The question of who must be answered. Who are the people that are supposed to utilize this? I think the failure of government is not because government is bad.
Yes.
Even in Benue State, for example, as good as the policies of our governor, Reverend Father Dr. Hysen Yomemalia, as far as his policies, no matter how good the promise, his policies are, if he cannot monitor and follow them, for him to understand that the targeted audience, the people who are supposed to be the end consumers of his policies, these things are not reached to them, he has failed. He has failed. And I think that is where government, most times people say government of a particular person is bad because they don't follow it to see that this thing they plan for example, you talk about the loan facilities for students in tertiary institutions. It's not a matter of putting somebody in charge of that and then saying that pushing the money to the person to see that that thing is done. Monitoring and evaluation is very important. You need to check whether that thing has reached there. Because as far as Nigeria as a nation and Nigerians are concerned, if you don't put on ground a monitoring policy to evaluate your programs and policies, you will fail because there are a lot of Nigerians who will want to carry it to their house, their homes. It's a matter.
Very well. So now, you, with what you have said here, we need to begin to look at the solutions.
Yes.
This is part of the solutions you have talked about. Monitoring, evaluation, supervision.
Supervision.
These three components of administration, don't you think they have been missing in the Nigerian system of governance for too long? Monitoring, supervision, and evaluation.
Yes, they have been missing because when we talk about politics, politics has come with a lot of things that has made government to compromise. Let me use the word compromise. Not that government is not aware that evaluation, monitoring and evaluation is very important as far as projects are concerned or facilities are concerned. They are aware of it, but there are issues of compromise. Compromise in the sense that when you come into power, people work for you. So it's time for you to work for them. And the only way you work for them is for you to give them something to do. And when you give them something to do, you expect that they should eat. And when they want to eat, they overeat. This is a problem. Can you see how the sequence of things? This person, when I was vying for this position, this person worked for me. So since he worked for me, let me look for something for him. At least let him to find something and eat. And when the person now got something to eat, he overeat. So that people are even eating what they are supposed not to eat. Just like a farmer, you are a farmer and you know that you cannot eat your farm seedlings. You eat everything and then you cannot even reserve anything for next cropping season. Your family will fail, and that is what is happening when people go there and they now have access to public funds to be utilized. Some of them begin to utilize what they are not supposed to utilize. There should be a channel. This one is supposed to flow to this place. Allow it to flow freely to that space. Let the other person allow that thing to flow to that other space until it reaches the destination. The destinations in Nigeria are truncated by individuals who are self-centered. They don't understand that when we say this money, like when the government of Buhari was on board, they were talking about a credit facility that was meant for the vulnerable, the poor people in the villages, such that even the old women and old papas were captured in that policy. Now, if we are now going to say, okay, even if these people doesn't have account numbers, this money is targeted at them, let us make sure that the destination is reached. There should be no space for truncating the agenda and the processes of government in terms of reaching the poor. That is a problem. And if the issue of compromise is settled in government operations, as far as politics is concerned, we will not compromise the standard of governance in terms of making sure that the welfare of the citizens is the priority of government. The government will not battle the issue of protest again. The facilities that are meant for the poor are going to them. Like when you talk about, okay, the president is talking about, then see, Nigerians have not come to kill you. Let the poor breathe. I have come with this point not to kill you. I have come here that the Nigerian government, Nigerian nation should work. But then if you have that policy, a good policy, it has been packaged and it has been produced in the public space, then the next thing is that what is he doing and how is he pushing the things that are good policy to reach the people who will likely complain. At the end of the day, if these things are not reached to them, it is not just to sit in the office. When you have people who will work for you, of course, make sure supervise them. Let them make sure that what you are talking about, your government should be fair, even at the local level.
Let's get back to, you have reminded me of something. When President Tinubu was appointing members of his cabinet, you recall vividly he said, the cabinet is subject to a review.
Yes, he
You
said
can
it.
hire and fire.
Yes.
If you perform below expectation, you'll be asked to go. Apart from Better Edu, the one minister manning, the suspended minister,
Yes.
who was manning the humanitarian and disaster management in Nigeria. Can you remember any of his cabinet members that have been sacked on account of low performance?
Should we talk about the matter of sacking first? Even the matter of Edu, how did the matter end? Because that ministry was a ministry that was supposed to allow the presidency to be fed by the local people, by the poor people. When you talk about, in fact, all governments in Nigeria, they always have something similar, something to do with the issue of poverty alleviation and how they will be care for the vulnerable. Now, if such people are placed in such a responsibility, the president knows that that is his flavor. That is what drives his government to down to the local people, to the lowest level. Now, it's not the matter of compromising. Anybody who have that kind of appointment is not there for him for compensation. Look, you are the one to make my government. You are the one to make the Nigerian people feel my government. Do you know that there are appointments that Mr. President have made that those are flavors? Every organization, every company has something that is making them to sell. If you go to Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola will tell you that I have a flavor that is different from any other person. Every government is supposed to have a flavor. And every government, every cabinet has offices that are government flavors. There are such offices are the ones that make people to feel your government. If you are putting people in such areas of responsibility, you check them. You check them. You see why I didn't talk about the matter of issue of sacking. Because sacking is not the best way of managing personnel. That is why I didn't talk about it.
What is the best way?
The best way is the matter of assessment. When you assess, you see areas that need attention. And when you see those areas that need attention, you work on them, you improve on them. It is not the matter of sacking is not the best way. I'm saying, repeat it again. You cannot say, okay, because this particular minister is not working, so let me sack him and bring him another person. There is a general saying that the devil you know is better than the angel you don't know. When you bring people into government to work for you, what are your periodic methodologies for assessment? Do you assess them monthly? Do you assess them weekly? Of course, there are areas of priority in as much as every other responsibility is very key and important.
Yes.
I'm talking about the areas that are supposed to drive government to the lower level.
Okay.
This is the flavor of Mr. President. Mr. President, people want to feel you through this particular agency.
It's okay.
Through this particular agency. Through this particular government operatives. Now, if that person you put there is not working, of course, first and foremost, orientation is very important. Let people understand their roles and they should be able to work on them as required.
It's okay. Well, I must say thank you so much, Fidelis Abako, for being here this morning to speak to us on what Nigeria needs to do at this moment.
Thank
you.
you.
If I had more time, would have extended our discussion because it was getting more interesting when time came knocking. So thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
it's a one pleasure. And so this is where we have to say goodbye. I must appreciate all of you for your viewership and those at the back room. Very many thanks to all of you for always believing and watching Benue television. My name is Japhet Kwahom. If you must continue with protests, protest responsibly. Goodbye for now.